Manipulation is the single most powerful tool enablers, gatekeepers, and abusers use to shut survivors down. Why? Because it works. What happens is that survivors step forward to expose the truth, which takes enormous amounts of courage. The problem is, these others have their own agenda, so can never allow this to happen. These family members or friends of the family usually fall into one of three categories. Enablers, people who make something possible. Gatekeepers, people who look after or guard a person, like a pedophile. Pedophiles, people who are attracted to children. Manipulation techniques they use can take the form of, but are not limited to, rejection, verbal abuse, reputational damage, and isolation. What this means is the cycle of abuse is again reenacted. We are transported straight back to phase 1, where the abuse was initially experienced and we knew we had to keep quiet. Even though we felt back then it was so wrong, we now have the added confusion of being shut down and made to feel as unwelcome as the abuse was to us. This unholy trinity, gatekeepers, enablers, and abusers, will do anything to ensure this is never spoken about or brought into the light. What that means is they will use any, and I mean any, means available to them to shut us down once and for all. Have a think about what happened when you tried to share the truth of your abuse through speaking out. Did you notice it was not encouraged or supported? Did you notice that people preferred it wasn't dealt with through various ways of silencing you? For instance, telling you that he or she was a nice person, or they would struggle to believe it, or you've had a stressful time lately, are you sure you've got this right? You have just been Davoed. Let me explain. For most survivors, we are made to feel bad about what happened to us, usually because it is not welcomed by society generally, but more specifically, the abusers, gatekeepers, and enablers don't want us voicing it. It is then almost certain you will have been subjected to the Davo effect, initially coined by psychologist Jennifer Freyd in the 90s. Davo works like this: D for deny, A for attack, R for reverse, V for victim, and O for offender. This is commonly used by the unholy trinity to ensure survivors never speak out. It works incredibly well and is always employed to discredit the survivor while gaining support for the abuser, beginning with deny, as in described above. Deny it ever happened. Attack. They will attack, and often a series of attacks are used on the credibility of the survivor. Reverse. The roles are now reversed between victim and offender. The victim becomes the offender, and the offender assumes the victim role. Sound familiar? This can begin when you are a child and feature throughout your life in a myriad of ways. You will know you have been Davoed because of how you feel. A way to emerge through this is to allow yourself to recognize what did happen. Breathe through the recognition of Davo, now you have a name for it. Hand it back through speaking to a trusted person and seeing it for what it is. Write out some thoughts about it so you can release it from your mind. Honour what you did to survive what you have. Acknowledge that you have always known the truth and stuck to it. If you haven't been able to because of Darvo, that's okay too. Keep breathing, smiling and being. You are one amazing gift to the world, and I honour you, fellow survivor. You never got this wrong.